Okay, let me start by saying I don't like giving some of this information because it's troubling. Wouldn't necessarily need to be, but it can be, because it's really happening. Okay, and it's not my intentions to create fear in any of you, but to show you what's going on. And for the most part, it is to show you how to protect others, and that is not taking away from the Lord's protection at all. He gave us common sense. We need to use it. Okay. This is about the fog, basically. Let me start here. You only have numbers 1 through 10 in existence. Any number you write down larger than that, you are borrowing from this system. You assist him. Okay, assist him. System. You gotta watch what you're saying. Everything we pronounce, if you pronounce it slowly or listen, you'll hear what it's really saying. It's a beast system. You're assisting him. Assist him. Just like citizens. Sit in sins. Okay. It's ridiculous what's been done to us. And I'm not saying that we aren't part of a number of peoples in heaven. As far as the word citizen, listen to that. Citizen. Like it or not, pretty much everybody pronounces that as sit in sin. Sit in sin. Okay, let's carry on here. So if you add these up, 1 is right here. That's 15, 14, and 5 is 34. This other row here is one number at a time added. I will show that later on probably another video. There'll be enough to cover in this one. Trust me. When you add these all up, you will get 497. Now let me adjust the phone, if I can here. Okay. Yeah, 497. Well, that's no big deal, is it? What is that? Well, it's DIG. Keep in mind, these are multi-directional spells and wisdom. I'm not saying that all wisdom is good to be used. You have to be able to discern and use common sense there too. But what are we digging? Well, you're going to see it's a hole for the masses. And you'll see why. 4 is D, 9 is I, 7 is G. That's dig. Backwards is what's really important here. Gid. If someone is giddy, you ever heard that? Most of you probably have. It's not a good thing to say. And the reason for it is when someone gets a disease from tapeworms. In specifics. And yes, 497 equals 20, the letter T, imagine that. That's for chump, and that's also for what's in here, the tapeworm. This infection goes to the people and is notably recognized in sheep because of, now we have the word sheeple in there. How does this relate to the fog? Well, if you've seen these videos and you've had any experience at all outside with a light in the fog, you will know that that's not fog. And that's why they're throwing around the videos that those have parasite eggs in them. The fog. That's a fact. Okay. And that would lead you to wonder what was on the swabs, wouldn't it? Now that's where this particular thing, GID, backwards, ends up going. Not in all circumstances, but it can. from this worm. Okay. Now, with that said, that's where I try not to make some of these videos until I have to. I don't want anyone to be, if you've had the swabs, and don't get all feared up and stirred up. You have the Lord, rebuke it, and move on. This video is for you to be able to help people in preventative manners, even for what has been done when they are dealing with this. How can you deal with it? Well, here's another thing too. They wanted us to wear the mask, and they made it a big push until we got sick of it, so that now no one will wear a mask, okay? So if you have a real foggy day, let's use our common sense, and the fog has what looks like small particles in it that don't melt, you need to wear a mask, and not the ones they sell. Any kind of cloth mask that you can make out of just about any household clothing is fine. Okay? And if you have animals, you have probably already seen that for some reason, most of your pets have had this infection over the last few years. They always tell us what they're doing. How do you treat this? You can look into it. There are numerous antibiotics, which conveniently they are trying to get rid of. Now, on the herbal side of it, you would use wormwood. Don't be freaked out by that word. That's a incredibly good thing. It's wormwood and that's why they call it, because it would worm. It would deworm your animals or people. It's also called Sweet Annie, and it's also called Artesima, I believe. And it has to be done in moderation. And you have to know whether or not you can have it with your medicines, or if your persons near you can. Okay? And there are many other herbs and spices that get rid of this tea worm. Okay? I believe clove. Of course, ginger, garlics, the pungent things. But you have to be careful doing this. I cannot give you specific amounts unless I was right there with you. And you got to know your tolerance level with herbs. That's why you take a very little bit and you wait 24 hours to see how you felt with it. You never take the recommended amount. Ever. In herbals. Now, this has been used to make something that people are afraid of also. And I can't remember the name of it, but it's mixed with alcohol, and it causes hallucinations. It was very popular, I believe, in the 20s and 40s, maybe even into the 50s. But that was taken in large quantities with alcohol. Like I said, there's many herbs, but look into this, GID backwards, and you'll see what's going on. And none of this is out of fear. We have protection through the Lord, absolutely, but He does give us common sense. And protection. Does He protect those around you that don't have His protection? That's why I'm making this video. And it's what they're doing. There's no hiding it. When you look at these spells, there's no way to deny what's going on. And of course in there's the word ID too, right? You got to have an ID, or DI. What does that mean? Anyway, you swap those initials around and look it up through medical terms or any other terms, you will find what's going on. Every time. Not once in a while. Every single time. Down to the hour, minute, and second and day. And, again, not out of fear, right? But we have those around us that are clearly in harm's way and don't know how to get out of there. So if anyone in the near future this happens to, you need to know how to take care of it. And again, I don't want anyone to think that I am dismissing the Lord's prayers over people. He gave us common sense. The reason we're in this trouble now is because the world has no common sense. I mean, how many people think that Constitution was a good thing? Don't even recognize the word con. And sty is a sore in your eye. And tuition is something you pay for from a person or college or a school. You have to be able to recognize what's in front of you. They are up to no good. We already know that, right? But it's worse than people think. And look into the herbs and even the antibiotics. A lot of these things you can still get from Farm and Fleet or a Tractor Supply store or whatever kind of farming places around you, or Rural King. Keep these things on hand, because I'm going to tell you right now, if you got pets and they're outside, they eat the grass, and this stuff has been sprayed with this continually for a while. They're just now really pushing it heavy with the fogs, and they have let the people know that that's what's in it. The videos that you see on it, people bringing it up, they're part of it, unless it's a small channel. They have to let you know what's going on. This is a bit of a, I hate to say it this way, this is a bit of an IQ test. I don't agree with any initials or anything, but I have to relate this somehow. And of course, with common sense, we lean towards the Lord first and foremost. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them. And if you can't reach me there, my email is readily available. In fact, I'll leave it again. The world is a lie, 007 @gmail.com.